Comics. Oh, well, it's this great days. And now let's just start with talking about comics in this debate topic that has been interesting me for a while now. Well, here we go. There's lots of things that seems to be going on for this debate topic because I've been reading lots of comics recently and they have all been particularly unnasty. Should you have to study comic books? And look at this. Comic books are for entertainment. Bam! 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 Yellow Jacket. Iron Man. Scarlet Witch. Vision. Who? This is all just for entertainment. They're not supposed to be for studying, some people say. Well, let's just see how well that kind of list goes on to. And you know what? Maybe we should study comics. Because maybe they're worth it. Maybe they'll teach you something. Nah. What is a comic book? Bang, 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 bang! These are all comic books. No, they're not. They're magazines. Bang, 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 bang! Well, there it is. What is a comic book? Well, a comic book is like a magazine or book that contains a series of pictures that tell a story. Often the stories focus on superheroes and supervillains. I already mentioned some of the heroes. Now I'm gonna have to mention some of the villains. Kang, the Conqueror. Namor. Ultron. IDK. Well, that's all I have, and that's all I know. So let's start this big debate with great things. 2013 to 2019, there are lots and lots of superhero comic book movies, and then until 2019 we got Avengers Endgame, and that became the highest grossing movie ever in anywhere, to be honest, at that time. Well, there's also something else I should mention right here too. There's lots of successes of movies that are based on the comic, especially the new franchise with Kong the Conqueror in it, and Avengers, and there'll be Avengers 4 and Avengers 5. I really can't wait for those movies to come out. Anyway, so that kind of happened. Avengers 5 and Avengers 6, I can't really wait for those movies to come out too. Anyways, so that's all about comics, and there are nowadays some courses in London and England to actually tell you and study these comic books because gonna tell you a lot of things about the whole story and shenanigans. So let's actually start this debate. Should we have classes? Should we have to study comic books with this guy? And he even brought his own little America costume. Alright, if that's what you want to call it. Well, here you go. Lesson number 1. Why we should study comic books. It's an art. It's a unique form of storytelling, and people should study them just to learn how to put them together so they can probably make things like, well, this. All the comics in the world seem to have made all this. Second of all, well, the arts and storylines in comics can actually teach people more about art and writing, which is actually the whole point of all this thing, right? To make stories, to draw stuff, that's the whole point of comics, to tell a story with pictures and words. The big boys. And number 3, comics from different time periods and countries can teach people more about that country's culture. Yeah, that's actually nice too. You can read a comic book, and you'll probably find out more about that country's culture too. Like if you're reading a Korean comic book, you'll find out a little bit more about Korean life and how it works. Probably. Reading a Western American comic book, you'll probably get that just for America or Britain or something like that. That's pretty nice too, because then you'll find out a little bit more about that country and what's pretty popular there. Next thing I'm gonna have to say is this. You don't study something just because it's very popular. You can study them, sure, you want to. If you want to study Captain America, then you can study them, sure. But you don't learn anything from the comics yourself. You can't learn elsewhere. You can learn this. You can't learn anything from the comics that you can't learn elsewhere. Like basically, let's say you learn about love, and then you find out about love in another textbook. Seriously, comics aren't that really good, except for maybe enjoying yourself. And now studying comic books would pretty much ruin them. Studying comic books will pretty much ruin them, because that's not the whole point of this at all. They're meant to be a source of entertainment, and they're classics. They're classics at doing that. And number 3, well, when there are so many classic books, plays, and posts to learn, why should we study comic books? We should just read them for entertainment. So now I'm forced to give out the results. Luckily, I kind of agree with the negative position here because I agree with all their statements. 44% of people think that we should study comic books. Also, I think that's more of an option. And 56% says we shouldn't. So I guess that means the negative position wins because they got my vote. So I hope to see you guys in the next episode, and I hope to see you guys soon. So until next time, Shnan out. Peace.